Hey guys, Chauncey Phillips here. Welcome to brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Today gonna go out, see the stuff that came out today, see what stuff's on sale as well. Also gonna have a couple really cool, DVD Blu-ray reviews at the end of this video. Some new Arrow releases, and then Batman v Superman, a couple other things as well at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. Also gonna mention this next week as well. But next week I'm gonna be at Comic-Con. So if any of you guys are there, let me know or say hello if you guys see me there. But anyway, though, guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. Yeah, one of the big things that came out today was, Divergent, Elite Legion. That one came out today. And I think there's like an exclusive edition. I think it's either here or in Walmart. I have to go and look and see the editions of that today. The other one today was Miracles from Heaven. This one, Jennifer Garner one. Yeah, they do have an exclusive edition here. It's in this kind of weird kind of case. You never can really explain this kind of case that it is, that these are in. The Hunger Games ones that they put out are in this as well. But it has an exclusive extra disc with 30 minutes of extra content on it. I'm not sure. It looks like it's like, bonus disc, a DVD bonus disc. I think it's like some extra featurettes and stuff on it. Like I said, these are interesting kind of cases, but it's really hard to explain the kind of case this is. And the other one today I would definitely recommend was Green Room. Absolutely love this movie. Definitely one of my favorite movies I've probably ever even seen in my entire life. Love this movie so much. Into Costco we go. So we'll take a look and see what they have in here today. They have the Dark Knight Trilogy one. It's only $21.99 for this one in here. And I think it has some new features on here. I'm not certain, though, if it's anything different or if it's just the same one repackaged or not. I think it might be repackaged, but not 100% certain in here. But every so often they change some stuff out. This one I have to, check out at some point. I think this was one, I might be wrong, that, had taken forever to come out in the U.S. and I think it came in other countries, but never here. And has a new dubbed version of this one as well, because I don't even think it ever had a US version at all. As far as I know, I think this is the one. And this other one too, Boy and the World. I don't know too much about this one, but every so often they change some stuff out here. And I know right now too, I'm probably going to look, they have the Criterion sale going on at, Barnes & Noble right now. And it usually makes the stuff about what they cost in here, $19.99, because usually their Criterions are marked at $40 there at Barnes & Noble, so it makes them kind of a little bit less than you can get them on Amazon. And this place, Costco usually has them the cheapest when they, get stuff, but they only have real selective ones, and it's, kind of sporadic the ones that they get, because it's like some things they get, other ones they don't. And they have this one in here, Scooby-Doo and Dino Mutt Hour, the complete series. I don't know when this one is from. Like, this is one of those Scooby-Doo ones that I don't feel like I have ever remembered seeing. I always remember, Pup Named Scooby-Doo, and then, the one in the 60s and stuff. And I think this is like, I don't know when this one was from. I don't even know when this DVD released. They have a couple of these. Like, I haven't seen these ones in a long time, like Magilla Gorilla, the complete series, and, Johnny Quest, the complete first season. I think these might be older DVD releases, and I don't know how far back these came out, because I don't think they were, I don't know, I'm not 100% certain, though, when these ones were released. Into the Quality Resale store we go. Well, we'll take a look and see if there's anything different in here. It's been probably about a month or so since I've been in here, and everything in here is $2.99, so sometimes you can find some decent stuff. I found, the only things that are more money are like the TV series, but I found a couple out-of-print things in here, an Anchor Bay thing, one of the last times I was in here. But like a lot of times it ends up being the same things for a while, but every so often they change it out, and there's a couple other things in here. It looks like there may be a few new things in here today, so we'll see if there's anything decent in here. They do have an official Team America bootleg in here. You do find a lot of these in these thin case releases, bootlegs of movies in here. The ones they'd sell on the streets and stuff like that in New York and stuff. And this movie, for some reason, the trailer to this movie when I was a kid, I don't know why, something about the trailer for this movie, the way the narration was and stuff, scared me so bad. Like, I was scared to death of the trailer of this movie. And, this is a G-rated kids movie, and I have no idea why as a kid I was so petrified by this trailer. And I always felt like it was a horror movie, because they always showed that, like, shed with the, reindeer in it, and for something about it creeped me out so bad, and I have no idea why, but it always did. There's a strange documentary here. It says Okie Noodling. It's like people fishing with their hands or something like that. I don't know. They sometimes do have some odd things in here. Hand fishing. But it seems like a lot of the same stuff, another bootleg in here. Stuff that's been for the last while. Doesn't seem like there's anything really that different. There's some more bootlegs, but other than that, I'm not seeing much else. Into Barnes & Noble we go. Well, everything in here is 50% off, like I said, and everything's like main price normally seems to be like $39.99. So everything ends up being, you know, about 20 here. And the DVDs I think are like 15 because I think those are usually 30. This is one of the newer ones, Clouds of Sils Maria. But look here, you know, here and see if there's any ones you guys recommend that I pick up. Let me know, because like I have a lot of ones that I'm really interested in, because like it's kind of mixed with ones that I really want to pick up. But we'll look and see if there's anything in here though. Yeah, you can see like we saw this one at you know, at Costco, and this was $19.99. There's some more ones over here, but they seem kind of picked over with what they have. This one, I don't know if I've ever seen this one. This one of the DVD ones. You really have to look very carefully with these, because like the DVD cases look the same as the Blu-ray ones. So if you're not paying attention, you could definitely pick up DVDs here by mistake if you're really not looking in here. This one, I saw a lot of people buying this one. I don't know much about this one at all. Let me know how this one is. Like I saw a lot of people when there were pictures of Criterion were picking this up. This one's pretty good too. Like I said, this is the DVD of it though. I don't know if they have the Blu-ray of this one or not. I think this was the 30s one, I think. This was, as I remember, though, pretty good. Into FYE we go. Well, we'll see if they change anything out in here. Come in here every so often. Like I've always said though, I always just look on the tops for the ones that say used. That's the easiest way to find the used stuff in here, to see what could be out of print and stuff. You know, they have periods of time too when it, like I said, it always just ends up being the same things for a really long time. Then all of a sudden someone brings in some stuff to sell, and then, you know, every so often there ends up being some really decent stuff that comes in. There hasn't been like anything really, really good that's come in a long time. One time though, they had all this horror stuff, like really good out of print stuff, and some of it was really underpriced. But there, like I said, there hasn't been anything like that in quite a while in here. But you always have to check, because you never really know. And this truly is one of my all-time favorite horror movies, you know, Kung Fu Panda. And yes, and people are wondering, it is a horror movie because it's in the horror section. Look at this weird set in here, Kick-Ass Heroes. It's like all these sort of knockoff-looking versions, like a knockoff RoboCop kind of thing on here. That's kind of funny, that weird knockoff RoboCop. Into Walmart we go. Well, it doesn't look like they have any different editions in here of Legion in here, but you know, Miracles from Heaven came out today, like I said, and they have this double pack one on DVD with Heaven is for Real as well. You know, that one where the kids like, that's him, that's Pop. Yeah, and then they have the Green Room in here as well. Like I said, in Target though, if you guys haven't seen this one, highly recommend this. You know, it stars the late, you know, Anton Yelchin, who's one of my favorite actors, and just really sad about him and what the accident that happened, because he was such a great actor. And this one, you guys have got to watch this one. Love this one so much. Other than that, though, in here, this one came out called Voyager: The Final Frontier, and I think it's like some kind of a Star Trek documentary thing. It's something. I don't know. Is that what that is? No, I don't think it's Star Trek. It's like something on the Voyager space mission one. But you might, if you weren't paying attention, think that's what it was, though. Other than that, over here in the section, it looks like it's all the same stuff from the last week or two. I don't see anything else in here that's standing out that's new this week. I think all this stuff was last week, like this, you know, Zombie Apocalypse one and Search Party, Term Life. Yeah, I think all these were all in the last week or two. Other than that, though, in here with the TV stuff, I don't see anything else too different here as well either. Oh yeah, the one things that did come out, and I'll review this at the end, Naked and Afraid XL, and then this one came out as well, Slasher, the complete first season. This is from, you know, Scream Factory. Pretty cool, you know, like TV series, kind of in the style of Scream or so, I would say. Into Best Buy we go. And they actually have an exclusive steelbook in here for Elysian. Pretty cool looking steelbook on this one. So it seems like the main places that have exclusive ones are, you know, Best Buy and Target. Doesn't look like, though, there's any exclusive editions at Walmart, at least as far as I can tell. At the one I was at, didn't seem to have one. They have Slasher in here as well. They have the Blu-ray release of that one. Like I said, that's a pretty cool, you know, TV series, kind of in the style of you know, Scream. Other than that, though, the stuff that came out here today, looks like these ones are new. These 4K ones, looks like they're from Shout Factory ones. I know they've been doing some 4K releases. This is like Rocky Mountain Express. I think it's something on trains, I'm guessing. And then this one, Flight of the Butterflies. Like, I guess documentaries on these. I'm not sure though what those are. Other than that, though, I don't see anything else too different in here today. There wasn't a huge release week today. Oh yeah, the other one that was today as well was Everybody Wants Some, and like I showed earlier too, the Elysian Steelbook, and then Miracles from Heaven. But that seems to be all the stuff, you know, like I said too as well, the Green Room, which I would highly recommend you guys check this one out though. Like I said, really love that movie.
Well, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video. Like I always say, guys, if you enjoy these videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Now stay tuned for a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got from Arrow Video US is one that I had never seen before called Suture, which is actually a pretty interesting movie. It's basically, you know, Steven Soderbergh actually saw this movie, like an early cut of this movie, really loved this movie, and then came on and helped, you know, do like finishing funds and, you know, put his name on the film. You know, I actually really love Steven Soderbergh's like kind of lesser seen movies, like Bubble was one of my favorite movies that he ever did, and I feel like that's one that hardly anyone has really seen. But this one, you know, he came on as the producer for this film. The directors of this, too, did one movie that I remember really liking called, like, What Maisie Knew or something like that. It came out, like, in 2012. This is basically, though, about these two brothers, these two half-brothers. And the brothers had never met before, and they ended up, you know, having the same father, ended up meeting at, you know, the father's funeral. And then the one brother is really rich, and the other guy comes from, like, a working class kind of background. And he kind of, after they meet, the one brother's like, well, I really wanted to talk to you, and I really feel like we should meet because I can't get over how much we look like each other. And it's also, this movie, too, is, you know, the brothers don't totally look like each other at all, and that's kind of like making you kind of look beyond that and sort of see it as a different kind of way of seeing, like, the way people are perceived as looking the same. It's a very interesting take on things. But basically, though, the one brother, who's the rich brother, had ended up doing something pretty bad, and, you know, he was framed for the murder of his father. So basically, he ends up with the idea of basically switching, you know, taking over the other one's life, and, you know, basically putting him in a car and blowing up the car through the phone, you know, when the brother comes to see him, and then kind of taking over his life. The other brother wakes up, and, you know, he thought that he was going to die in this explosion. He ends up in the hospital. He doesn't remember who he is, and he's trying to put the pieces together about his life and trying to figure out exactly what had happened and how this had happened to him in the car. And, you know, it's kind of like, is he going to get his, you know, memory back and remember who he really is? And if he does get his memory back, is he going to want to go back to his old life? Because now he has all this money and has a whole totally different type of life. But yet at the same time, though, he is being charged or, you know, looked at as the murderer for his father. It's a very interesting movie. You know, it's all shot in black and white. Amazing cinematography on this one. Has on here, though, a bunch of new features on here. You know, it's in a 4K transfer, a new 4K transfer, commentary track with the directors moderated by Steven Soderbergh, and a making of as well on here. A number of other features as well. But a pretty interesting movie. The next one, this is a Jack Hill movie. This is one of the Jack Hill movies. I think I saw this one years back. I think it was in like a set of like the cheerleader movies that Anchor Bay released like years back. And this is, you know, Jack Hill, who's pretty much known most for, like, I would say Switchblade Sisters. I believe Foxy Brown was his film. And, you know, Spider Baby, which is one of my favorites of his. He also did the racing movie that Sid Haig was in. I can't remember what the name of that one was. But this one is called The Swinging Cheerleaders. And this is basically kind of a, you know, this is during the time when they were making a whole lot of those kind of cheerleader type films. And, like, what's funny is this kind of movie actually is what inspired, like, Bring It On and those kind of movies, because Bring It On was more PG-13 kind of cheerleader film. But this, I remember even listening to the commentary track years back for Bring It On, and he was, like, talking about how, like, this movie and a number of other ones kind of inspired that film. But this is during the time when they were making a whole lot of different cheerleader films. Some of them are more exploitive than others with what they were doing. And this one is basically about this woman who's writing this paper, and she wants to write a paper, you know, a college student, on what she thinks of the cheerleading, you know, the girls that are cheerleaders, and how she thinks that it's like exploiting them, and she thinks it may not be that great for women, and you know what's going on there. She's sort of like a feminist kind of piece on cheerleaders. So she ends up going there and getting, you know, pretty much going undercover to write this story. And it's kind of about her, but then she's sort of like discovering that maybe it's not really what she thinks, and maybe it's more about, you know, it's like discovering that it's really not like what her perceived view of it is. But when she's there, though, she discovers, though, that there's actually some shady business going on with the football team and the teachers and the stuff that they're up to and all this kind of stuff. It's basically like things that she's discovering going on there. I actually like this movie. It was kind of a different movie for Jack Hill when it came to some of his other movies. this is like one of his because Jack Hill kind of stopped making movies, I think in like the late 70s, and this is one of his like later ones before he stopped making films. I always hope at some point he comes back and does another movie, because I've always liked his stuff. But it has on here a brand new 2K transfer on here, audio commentary track with Jack Hill, a brand new interview with Jack Hill as well, but and like, you know, a Q&A as well. But a pretty cool movie, like I said, a lesser known one, I would say. The next one from Lionsgate. This is a show that I really like. The show, the second season of this, you know, of this specific version of the show, has just started back to like last Sunday, and it's Naked and Afraid XL, because there's two different versions of Naked and Afraid. There's the Naked and Afraid when it's like two people out, and I think it's like for 2 weeks or so. I can't remember if it's 2 weeks, and they're out there basically having to survive out there. And the whole concept of the show is the characters are naked out there, and they have nothing but, you know, nothing, you know, to survive except for like one item that they're given, like lighter or you know, a machete and things like that. But this version of the show is a group of I think it's 12 different people, 6 men, 6 women, who are out there, and it's for 40, is it 40 days? Yeah, it's 40 days, and it's basically, it kind of has more of a survivor kind of feel, a little bit to it, sort of, and they're kind of split off into certain areas, like 3 of them are lumped together, the other 3 of them in other areas, in certain other areas, and it's kind of out there. It's like, instead of, you know, for the 2 weeks, I think it's 2 weeks, the original series, this one is, like I said, 40 days, and they're kind of out there, and kind of showing how they survive, and what they have to do out there. I personally really like this show, because, you know, some like the whole thing that kind of got people into the show was, like, they said, oh, they're all naked out there and that stuff. But beyond the point of that, the naked aspect is really just to show that really they have nothing to work with out there, and they're really having to survive, they're having to get their own food. And this series, this one, you know, has got a lot of drama. There's one guy, Shane, there that no one gets along with, and they're having all kinds of problems with him. There's some of them that are real loners and going off and doing their own thing, and they're having all kinds of issues with each other. I really like this show a lot. You know, I really like the standalone one as well, you know, just the single show as well. The second season, too, which I said just started, is actually looking out to be pretty good. There's a lot more animals and stuff in this one, at least as far as I can tell. But if you like that kind of show about surviving out in the woods and, you know, dealing with, you know, annoying people and people getting sick out there and having all kinds of problems going on, definitely check this one out. It has a digital copy of the show as well. The next one, this is one a lot of people have been talking about, because I remember right even when it first came to theaters, people were talking about this edition of this coming out, you know, it being in the R-rated cut. I wonder if it's going to be like that too with Suicide Squad when that comes out. And this is, you know, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, and this is the Ultimate Edition. And this is the extended cut of the film, which is a 30-minute longer cut. And, you know, Jenna Malone's character is actually in this one as well, because she was cut from the original one, so her character comes into this one. And it's 30 minutes longer, and it's actually rated R, but it's mainly for, you know, more violence and stuff like that, to the scenes and stuff like that. I like this movie a lot. You know, I didn't absolutely love it. The thing is, though, when it comes to Ben Affleck as Batman, like, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about him at first, but he actually really is pretty decent as Batman. To me, though, my favorite Batman ever, and I think they've become tied now, is, you know, Michael Keaton, and then Christian Bale. Michael Keaton's always my top favorite, and then Christian Bale. And the thing is, Christian Bale really was good as Batman. I think it's pretty much a tie with me between those two of them. I think George Clooney was my least favorite Batman, to be honest. But this one is basically, though, because what happened in Man of Steel, Superman made, you know, trying to get Jennifer Zod's character, and basically destroys the whole city, and Bruce Wayne, Batman basically holds him responsible for what had happened, and basically the destruction and everything like that, and someone died and all this kind of thing, and he's basically has this hatred for Superman, and it's kind of them between each other. And then it's also has Jesse Eisenberg's character, who's messing around with basically trying to, where Jennifer Zod's character in the last one screwed up, he wants to kind of try and become like him and kind of channel all that kind of stuff. So he's kind of like the villain in this movie. And I actually thought he was pretty cool in this movie, and like pretty kind of a different role for him. And the Wonder Woman character comes in here as well, too. And I don't want to spoil too much about this, but it definitely, I would say, adds to the movie, in this newer, longer cut of the movie, in the R-rated cut. It has a number of different features on here, though. Featurettes on the film, a glimpse at the future of DC's bald characters, Justice Meets Vengeance, talking about the two characters clashing for the first time, explore the origin of the film, the character of the Wonder Woman character, and then talking about Batman's new ride. But I would say this is definitely worth checking out too, and it's, like I said, it's 30-minute longer cut of the movie. The next one is one I just finished watching tonight. This is from Monarch Entertainment, called Grantham and Rose. I think that's how you say the name, Grantham and Rose. It's basically about this kid who's in a juvenile detention center, and he's kind of having all kinds of problems, and problems with his family, and his mother is kind of strange, and he's in there, and he ends up meeting this older woman who is working there, and he kind of becomes friends with her. But then the people who are kind of watching the kid there are saying, why are you talking to this old woman? She's not really a great influence on you. You need to be paying attention to the program. She's just a random employee here, and you don't need to be talking to her. You need to talk to us. You know, we're the counselors, and we can help you. But basically, though, this woman doesn't like that they're telling her not to talk to this kid, so she ends up basically telling this kid that, oh yeah, they gave me permission to take you out of here and go on this little trip. So he ends up going with her, and she, of course, she didn't have any permission at all, and she took him out of this juvenile detention center, and they go on this road trip going to Atlanta, and along the way they end up meeting this one girl at this convenience store that he likes, and she's in there stealing stuff, and it's kind of a road movie about, you know, the one woman too was from a lot of different movies. I know she was from the Jeffersons, and I kind of like their character together. The movie, though, doesn't have a huge plot in some areas of the movie. It kind of fizzles out a little bit with what's going on. But I really did like this, though, for the most part. And I like these kind of road films. And it was a pretty decent film, though. And, you know, just kind of about him trying to figure himself out and stuff like that. The next one, this is one I had never seen before. You know, Roger Corman produced this, and this was actually like one of Francis Ford Coppola's, I think, very first movies ever. And it's a movie called Dementia 13. This is on, you know, Blu-ray this is from the Film Detective, and a pretty decent transfer in the movie. It's not the greatest of the Film Detective transfers I've seen. Like Bucket of Blood and The Bat was a little bit stronger transfer, but still better than I've seen, because I know this is one that I believe has been like in the public domain a lot, like a lot of different like kind of releases, and it's definitely, you know, I think I've seen some clips and stuff, and I've seen it's been very dark. But this was basically, though, about this guy, you know, this wife, whose like husband is out in this rowboat, and he's like talking to her saying, oh, if I die, you know, because of the will the way it is, you're not going to get any money, so you need to be, I'm better to you alive, and you need to keep me alive. And he's like a little bit older, and he's talking about all this, and ends up having a heart attack, and she doesn't know what to do, so she ends up basically pushing the body overboard, and basically making it like, you know, coming up with this elaborate scheme saying that their husband went missing, and he basically said he was going away for business, and she basically just wants to make it so he's kind of vanished off the face of the earth, so it looks like he's still alive, but he's just missing, so she can still be getting the money and all that kind of stuff. But she goes to the family house to meet the mother, and she's like talking to him, going, where is my son? And then, of course, when she's there, though, somebody is starting to kill the people who are in this house that have come together, and it's a pretty violent scenes for the time of like people getting axed and stuff like that, and a pretty cool underwater sequences in this one as well. Like I said, though, this is Francis Ford Coppola's one of his first movies. The next one, and this movie has some ridiculous scenes in this. This movie is from Brain Damage Films, and it's a movie called On the Brain. And it's basically, though, people are in this town having something really strange happening to them, and like they're like going like, it's one of those ones where things go like really over the top with like people getting like possessed by something in their brains. It's like there's, you know, those kind of things where people are like, there's something in my head. It's like that kind of business, and like they're in this like convenience store, and the one guy's there like and shaking all around and stuff like that. It's hard to get past some of that. This is how ridiculous some of that was, and the sheriff is in this town trying to figure out what this is, and this one woman called the mayor, and she's not really the mayor, she's like the mayor of this really like weird restaurant, and she basically is like kind of scheming up to no good, and she's like trying to cover up what's happening to these people in the town because she doesn't want it to mess up her business and stuff like that. This was very, 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 very strange, to be honest. It was weird. And then the next one I wanted to let you guys know about, this is from Worldwide Multimedia, and this one I actually have some parts in that I filmed some stuff for, actually in this DVD room of me, you know, like at the end of the world and stuff like that, you know, trapped in here. It was actually a pretty fun movie. It's called Milfs Vs Zombies, and it's basically about these 4 women, you know, that are basically trying to survive when zombies are all attacking and things like that. And I'm in here, so it cuts to me a couple times in the movie, you know, trapped in here with zombies outside the door, and it's just a pretty fun zombie movie. that crazy over-the-top zombie movie. But this one's out now. If you guys are interested in checking this one out, you know, it's on Amazon and everywhere you guys can pick this one up. I don't know if it's going to be on demand or any of that kind of stuff as well or not. But like the original title was Milfs vs Zombies, but now it's been changed to 4 Milfs vs Zombies. But anyway though guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.